The Shadow Priest is one of my favorite DPS classes in TBC and it is mandatory. You're gonna think, oh, it's because of the mana. Not even. It is mandatory because it is a flat 15% damage bonus to every single warlock. So a Shadow Priest in your raid is gonna provide multiple people worth of DPS for the entire raid if you consider this buff, and you have to have a Shadow Priest. It is not negotiable. Anyway, we're gonna take the talents here. We're gonna take Spirit Tap. They are both useless here, don't look at them too much. Then we are gonna take 2 points in Improved Shadow Word Paint, a longer dot, more duration, more mana efficient, and more time pumping instead of putting dots. That's more boom boom. And then we're gonna take Shadow Focus, 10% free hit. This is also why Shadow Priests are gonna be very strong early on. 10% hit is insane. Then we are gonna take Shadow Affinity. It is for 25% less threat. This is also non-negotiable. Shadow Priest is infamously like one of the worst classes for threat in the game. You produce so much threat, it's not even funny. By the way, this is why the Smite Priest will never work. I know people send me links and they're like, look man, the Smite Priest does really good damage. Why is it so bad? Because it produces a crap ton of threat. And it doesn't get this threat reduction either. Not to mention the utility, you're also missing all of this. But yeah, we are gonna take Mind Flay. It's gonna be a filler spell. It is a channeled ability and every tick is like Soul Drain or something. Every tick has a chance to proc Quack Mirran's Eye. So we are the best Quack's Eye abuser in the game because of this, and that's also a lot of value early on. We're gonna take Improved Mind Blast, more boom boom. We're gonna take Shadow Reach for more range, and we are gonna take 4 points in Shadow Weaving. Shadow Weaving is a 10% total buff to shadow damage. There's a 5% down there, okay? So just stick with me. And now, why don't you take 5 out of 5? It is a proc chance, okay? You have 15 seconds to refresh the debuff before it falls off. It is very unlikely you are not gonna put it on the boss again in 15 seconds. You're doing a crap ton of spells, right? If you have multiple Shadow Priest, you can even like save another talent in here. You can do like this, but like we're gonna do 4. That's up to you. We're gonna take Focus Mind, that's for cheaper spells, and we are gonna take 1 point in Vampiric Embrace. We generate 15% of our damage to healing for the entire party. And this is the second reason that Shadow Priests have insane threat problems. As you guys know, healing is a 1x global threat, so if we produce 15 times 5, that's 75% of our damage, that's 75% extra threat. It is pretty stupid. I think the healer threat is like minus 30% or something like that. It doesn't matter, okay? It's a crap ton of extra free threat that you're generating and it's a problem. You can turn it off. It's a dot, like a debuff you gotta put on the boss, and you're gonna have to not use it in a lot of fights or you're gonna pull aggro. But yes, okay. We're gonna take Darkness, 10% more damage, obviously. We're gonna take Shadow Form for even more damage. We're gonna take 4 points in Shadow Power. We just wanna get crit. We're gonna take 5 points in Misery. This is the other 5%. This is spell damage, okay? So this is global spell damage for everyone, every mage, every boomkin, and of course the warlocks. So warlocks get a total of 5 and 10. That's 15% extra damage on the best DPS class in the game. You have to have a Shadow Priest. And finally, the thing they are the most famous for, Vampiric Touch. 5% of our damage is gonna turn to mana for the entire party. It is insane. It is an insane ratio and it never was this way again after this. Then we have to go Discipline. You can take Resist, Fear, and Silence or one specialization. They are both kinda useless. I prefer the Stone Resist. You can take the wand if you want. You're not gonna use a wand. It's fine. We're gonna take Improved Shield. You're gonna shield yourself a lot. Amazing survivability. Shadow Priests are very tanky, if you can believe that. I tanked Atumen before. Like the first boss in Karazhan, I pulled aggro on it, and for the memes, I tanked it the entire fight. No problem. You take minus 15% reduce physical damage, and you get a crap ton of armor. Shadow Priests are very tanky, man. They are very hard to kill. We're gonna take 2 points in Fort for the buff. And here, Meditation. 30% of our mana regeneration continues while casting. So we're gonna benefit from Spirit, and we are gonna need that mana to keep going. And finally, we are gonna take Inner Focus. This is kind of like a cheap presence of mind, you know, like a Walmart presence of mind. You pop this and your next spell is gonna be free, and it has a 25% extra crit chance. It is another nice DPS cooldown, it is not a big deal, but it is cool. Now, normally I do not talk about racials in these videos. I think they are not that important, you guys know, the weapon racial, whatever, but for priests are very important because every race gets a special ability. Now, there are two abilities that are way more important than anything else. Undead get Devouring Plague, which is a second shadow dot, and Night Elves, if you can believe that, yes, they get Star Shards. It is actually a viable ability for PVE in TBC, if you can believe it. Yeah, the Star Shards are real. If you're Alliance, you kinda have to take Night Elf. There's, like, it's so much better. I mean, you don't really have to, but like, if you wanna be like the best, you have to. It's a free ability, it's a second dot. In the case of Undead, this has a 3-minute cooldown. It is not gonna affect your overall DPS much. Of course, you're gonna feel it. It's really nice, but you can make an argument that Trolls with their Berserking racial is like similar value, if not more. I can understand that you can go Troll or Undead, that's fine, but like, yeah. Night Elf is the most optimal race for Shadow Priest. Sucks to say it, I know. I don't know how much the DPS difference is, honestly, but it is not much, okay? It is not that much. But yep. For your stat priority, it's gonna be very simple. First of all, you wanna get your hit cap of 16%. Of course, you already get 10% for free, so you only need 6% more, which is 76 rating. Very easy to get. After that, we're gonna stack as much shadow spell power as possible. Spell power is your best stat, you don't really benefit from much of anything else. After that, you can get intellect, you can get crit. It's not very good for you. Only your Mind Blast and your Shadow Ward Death can crit, right? Mind Flake cannot crit, Shadow Ward Pain cannot crit, your Devouring Plague or your Star Shards, they cannot crit. So crit doesn't really give you a lot of boom boom. By the time you get to tier 6, you wanna stack Haste instead. But that's way in the future, guys. That's not now. But very well, we're gonna talk about the rotation, okay? Single target, very simple. You're gonna do Vampiric Touch. It's your mana generation, you gotta have it on the target every single time. If it falls off, you refresh it. After that, we're gonna do Shadow Ward Pain, our main dot, it does a lot of damage. After that, if you have it, we're gonna do Star Shards or Devouring Plague, if you have it. If you don't have it, you don't use it. After that, we're gonna do Mind Blast, it does a lot of boom boom. After that, we are gonna do Shadow Ward Death. Please do not forget, Shadow Ward Death is gonna do damage to you, okay? So make sure you don't die to your own spell. It is worth doing if you take damage. It does a lot of damage, you wanna do it, but make sure you're not gonna die to it. You know what, I'm gonna put a weak aura. I'm gonna put like 3 weak auras in the Discord to make the whole rotation easier in the Priest channel. You're gonna find it in the TBC section. But yeah, I wanna make that clear. And finally, we're gonna do Mind Flay as the filler. It's just that channeled ability. It slows the mobs. Yeah, you got that going on. I would talk to you about the AoE rotation, but there really isn't one. We don't have a single AoE as priests. We don't have Holy Nova even as Shadow Priest. Mind Seer is not a thing in the game yet. You can just try to spread all your dots. Shadow Ward Pain, Vampiric Touch, you know, and just kind of like spread them around multiple targets. It's gonna suck. If you're in dungeons, however, I can tell you one thing that people forget. I don't know if I got any video footage of this that I can show you. Okay, I cannot find any video on it, okay? You're gonna have to imagine it. Mind Control can get you control of mobs and you can use their spells, and there are several mobs in several dungeons that can do AoE, okay? So, if you're doing a big pull, you are usually, even if people flame you, you are usually better off just doing Mind Control on one mob and cleaving with that mob or AoEing with that mob. Think of like the mobs in Shattered Halls or like the caster ladies in Steambolts, that stuff, right? You Mind Control them and you use their AoE. You can top the middles actually doing that sometimes because some mobs in TBC do stupid damage. And also you are CCing one mob, so you're making it easier for the raid, for the party I mean. Yeah, in raids, you have no AoE whatsoever. You're screwed. There's nothing you can do. I'm sorry. Your meta gem is gonna be the Mystical Skyfire Diamond. It's gonna give you another Quack Mirransai, a mini Quack Mirransai. Very good for you because, as I said, Mind Flake can proc it very quickly, very often. Every other gem is gonna be your Runed Red Gem, your Spell Power Red Gem. There is nothing else worth taking, honestly. Like, Spell Power is so much better than any other stat you can take. If your socket bonus has a lot of spell power, you might want to consider taking something else, but under almost any circumstance you want to take a red spell power gem over anything else you can take. It is that good. Then we're going to take the Flask of Pure Death, 80 spell power, very easy to understand. Then we are going to take the Blackened Basilisk for our food. It is 23 spell power. And after that we're going to take the Superior Wizard Oil for 42 spell power. Now, we are not going to do mana potions. Unless your tank sucks, that way, at that case you might want to consider a mana potion. You don't want to take a mana potion. Why? Because damage is mana. The destruction potion is 120 spell power. Under most circumstances, 120 spell power for 15 seconds will give you a crap ton of mana. Not as much mana as a mana potion, but you get mana and damage, so it is way more efficient. Also, if you pop a mana potion, that's mana for you. If you pop a destruction potion, that's mana for the entire party. And your job is to generate mana, like nobody really cares about your damage. Let's be honest, your damage is never gonna be amazing. They don't take you for that, they take you because you're so goddamn useful. But yes, overall the Shadow Priest is amazing, it is very fun, the rotation has a lot more buttons than the average TBC rotation. I like the dot kinda gameplay, and you just like being appreciated, man. You are always appreciated when you play a Shadow Priest. I think that's the point of TBC, right? I just realized I took 4 points in misery, my bad, 5 points. Oh Jesus, I'm gonna have to fix that in post. Subscribe, join the Discord, and thank you for watching.